All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're probably going to do a little bit more yin style than we have been doing. My knee is like mad grumpy. I don't know if it's the snow or it's just mad because I went to Florida for a week and I didn't stay. That's what it is. It's just like, listen, lady, what are we doing with this when we had sunshine and 80-degree weather last week? So yeah, my knee is protesting my life choices. So that's how we're gonna roll with yoga today. We'll focus on making my knee a little less bitter with me. So start off comfortably seated. If you're like me and need props, get those props. Make sure you're warm enough or cool enough. Those of us in the southern hemisphere enjoying summer right now, or in a place that's not cold and snowy. I saw a great meme that can just be applied to everything. And I sent it to my mom because my mom hates the snow and just bitches nonstop about it. And it was like something about you have to be able to find the joy in snow, because if you don't, you'll have less joy. You'll have the same amount of snow in your life, just minus the joy. And I was like, oh man, that's really good for everything. Oh man. All right, take two for 2 weeks in a row where my computer has just decided it doesn't want to work during class. What was it saying? Joy. Yeah, let's just embrace technology and the joy of technology. Yeah, don't worry, be happy. I think that's the moral of the story here. Anyways, get comfy. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. And actually, let's do a little bit of energy work. So take your hands, rub your hands together. And as you're rubbing your hands together, I want you to notice any areas in your body that are feeling depleted or tired or sore or cranky. That can include your brain and your heart, your head. It doesn't have to be physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional. Identify the place that you are going to be sending this warm energy to. Now I want you just to imagine that there is a little like marble between your hands, and you're rubbing it together and you're just filling it full of chi, universal energy, unconditional love. You're charging it up. You're going to go ahead and place your hands on the area of the body that needs that extra support today. And just imagine all that energy flowing into that place. Let's do this 2 more times. So bring the hands together, rub them together. Start thinking about another place in the body, physical, mental, emotional. You could use some extra juju today. Imagine rolling that marble in your hands, charging it up. And then go ahead and pick another spot. Just receive all that good energy and healing. One last time, pick another spot. Start charging up that marble. And place the hands wherever you need that energy. Beautiful. Okay. So you're going to turn yourself sideways on your mat, kind of how I am positioned on mine, and take yourself towards the back edge. Or open up into a straddle. If you've got any tightness in the hamstrings or the low back, you are welcome to sit up on something. I'm up on a little pillow. I'm gonna let those legs come out as wide as is comfortable. Now, if you have any tenderness through the inside of the knees as you move into this pose, you can always use a little blanket or a balled up scarf or whatever you got. And just put it under the knee, and that's gonna help support. And we're working mainly on sitting up. And once we have gotten to a place of comfortability just in being upright, then we have the option of either tipping forwards or tipping forwards and then rounding. So play with it, kind of, notice where you get the best stretch. Is it kind of halfway tipped forwards and it hits one spot, or do you tip all the way and it hits a different one that's better? Does it feel good to round? Or is it better to stay long? Just figuring out where you get the best variation of this pose for your body. And we're going to hang out here for about 3 minutes. Notice where you're holding unnecessary tension. These places are typically the hands, the feet, the forehead, the jaw, the tongue. Just let it all go. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Use your exhale to release any tension that's hanging out in your face. There you go. Use your hands to press yourself all the way up to a long spine if you're rounded, and then all the way up to seated if you have tipped forward. Wow, it is really snowing out now. So, next pose, more intense option is going to stay with the legs both out. Less intense option, which is what I am going to take today, is going to be to pull your left foot in, keep your right leg long. And then I'm just going to turn, I'm going to release the height from under my hips for this. I'm going to turn to square the center of my chest with my big toe. And one arm on either side of the leg. Lengthen the heart down the leg. So it's as if you're trying to take the center of your chest and touch your big toe with it. So really lengthening through that left side, whether the leg is straight or the leg is bent, you're going to root through the left hip and then reach through that whole left waistline and use your right rib cage to gently pull backwards so you can square yourself. And then again, you can stay kind of upright with a long spine, or you can start to round over. You can support yourself any way that you need to. Lots of options. Let that right foot relax though. There's no need to keep it flexed. And even as we really soften into this, you want to keep the chest square to the leg. So oftentimes as we relax, that right shoulder will creep down and the left one will creep up. We're going to go there. Don't worry. But right now we're focusing on really keeping the torso square. So I do like to kind of wrap my hand across my right shin here, just to keep reminding me that I am twisting into this. Again, find those areas where you're holding unnecessary tension, hands, feet, jaw, tongue, forehead. Notice if you're clenching in your left glute. Try to soften through the left hip, up into the left low back. And then we're going to put that right forearm right down in the center of the right thigh. And depending on where this leg is in relationship to straight out next to you, for me, I don't have a very open straddle, so I have to adjust. If your leg's a little bit more out, you're already going to be in position. So I tend to bring my elbow actually back onto a block behind me. And then the left shoulder is going to peel open. Take that left hand under the hip and the elbow point straight out to the side. Relax the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Now, if it feels like you can get a deeper twist here, you might bring the elbow on the inside of the right thigh and continue to rotate. Keep the head real floppy-like. It's a technical yoga term. And think about almost rotating as if you were trying to face your chest towards the ceiling. But let the head continue to be floppy. And that should really stretch through those scalenes that are in the front of the neck, and they move up and attach at various locations from the occiput all the way up towards the center of the chin. And they're supposed to be nice, soft, happy muscles, but most of the time they feel like guitar strings. So if they really hurt right now, you know you're in the right spot. If you're like, I don't feel anything in my neck, chances are you're actually using them to hold your head up. So relax that head, let it be floppy. And I like to keep my hand on my hip here because if I pull it behind my back, there's a tendency for the shoulder to roll forwards. And it's just a good reminder to stay open through that left shoulder. Come out of this pose, you're going to bring the right hand into a comfortable position and push into either the floor, the leg, or the block yourself all the way up. And your head is going to be the last thing to come up. And just sit for a moment. That should really feel like an intense reset as your whole spine aligns. And you might have some residual discomfort. So when we've stretched those muscles out and we've held it for a long period of time, and then we go back into the old position, they're confused. They're essentially like, what do I do? Do I go back to being tense? Do I relax? So they'll kind of spasm oftentimes for a moment, and that's fine. Just sit and allow them to freak out. Give them the space to have their big feelings, and they'll calm down and hopefully be less tense. Now I'll switch sides. So if you've pulled that left leg in, you're going to extend it out, and then you're going to pull the right leg in. Or again, you can keep the right leg out for a little bit more intense version of this pose. If you got props, you want to take them with you. I'm just going to give my knee a little extra support. So fun trick, if you've got pain when you bend your knee all the way, it's compression in your joint, typically from a knee injury or surgery or both. And if you take a little hand towel, or in this case, I'm just folding up my strap, and I'm going to put it right up in the crease of my knee. That creates a little more space. It starts to teach the joint to be more open. Scar tissue will tend to tighten up the joints. So it's not like I'm opening up the joint and I'm making it flimsy in any way or unstable. I'm creating more space to open up the joint and actually help break through scar tissue that has been formed there. So that's a really great trick if you've got any ickiness going on in your knees. From here, you're going to stretch that whole right waistline so the right hip drops down, the right ribs come forward. We rotate to face heart to big toe. And then whatever props you need, if you need them. And you either just lengthen with a long spine or round, whatever feels good. And as you're relaxing, again, remember to keep that right shoulder moving down and forwards. The left waistline pulls back. Foot's relaxed. Head's relaxed. Really, most of the body's relaxed, but there's an emphasis on just reminding yourself to twist into this.
A couple more deep breaths here. Using your exhale to really let go of any tension from your face. And slowly you're going to bring that left arm either onto the thigh, behind the thigh, in front of the thigh, right hand under the right hip, and then rotate yourself open,
letting the head drop down towards that left shoulder.
Head is all flopsy.
And you can keep rotating, turning the face and the chest up towards the sky and continuing to let the head just flop. So those scalenes, if you're like, wow, why does this feel like my collarbone's being ripped out of my body? It's because our scalenes go down under the collarbone and attach down onto our ribs. So it's normal to feel like your collarbone's being ripped out of your body. Stay with a nice, smooth, even breath, even as the stretch becomes intense. The more you can have a smooth, calm breath, the more your body is going to respond with smoothing out and calming down. It's kind of like the body is the child and the breath is the parent. And in all situations, children always look to the parent or to the adult, the authority figure in their life for, what do I do in this situation? So when shit's going down, the more calm you can stay, the more even you can hold your breath, the more your body is going to not respond in a negative manner. You're going to bring that left elbow right out to the side, push into the arm, and then use the arm to roll you up. Head is the last thing. Come up, and then just sitting for a moment, allowing everything to realign. Then bending both knees in, just having a seat for a second. Since I was just talking about scalenes, I want to offer you an option for when your scalenes do get really tight. So if you feel up onto your collarbone, and then you kind of palpate backwards in towards your throat on the back side, you will start to feel these little, and you kind of like wiggle your fingers back and forth like this, you're going to feel these little guitar strings. These are your scalenes. And you can really start to push in there, and it helps if you drop your head, your chin down towards your chest. It'll make a little more space. And you can kind of, you're like gripping around the edge of your collarbones as if you were rock climbing. And if you shrug your shoulders up, you'll actually get down deeper in there. And then if you hold that grip,
This is some self-massage tips here. Hold that grip, keep your chin tucked, but drop your shoulders down. Oh God, that's gonna hurt. You can shrug the shoulders up and drop them down a couple times. And then you keep those shoulders down and bring the head up and look up towards the sky. Then drop it back down. A couple times. And then release and shake your hands out because that's a lot of work on your hands. Whew, and then just turn the head side to side. Enjoy that hopefully, additional range of motion that you didn't just have 2 seconds ago. Great. Okay. So, whenever you're dealing with pain in a joint, typically it can be kind of sussed out by paying attention to the joints above and below. So, I'm going to talk about knee joint today because that's what we've got going on. So I'm going to have you come up. You can pad your knees. You can be any direction you want on your mat, but I'm just going to be this direction because this is where the camera is. And I'm going to put my foot out in front of me. So my position is like this, okay? And I'm facing this direction because I want you to be able to see what I'm talking about with an ankle here, although you're going to have your own ankle to look at as well. So as I'm looking down at my knee stacked over my ankle, I'm really paying attention to this ankle joint. So I'm going to bring myself up a little bit higher. And I'm just going to be moving from right here where my knee is stacked on top of my ankle joint. I'm just going to move the knee forward so that it stacks right on top of the toes. So from the side view, this is the movement I'm looking for, okay? From over the heel to over the toes. 6 inches, maybe. So I want you to watch as you do this, what happens to the shin and what happens to the arch of that right foot. So ideally, as we move the knee forwards, you're going to see your shin, all that tissue of the shin, internally rotate, and your arch is going to drop slightly. Now, that's what we want to see. Oftentimes, that's not what we see. We either see the arch lift up or we see nothing happen at all. And that just means that you've got stuck stuff going on in the ankle and in the foot, which is not unusual because there's just hundreds of bones in the ankle and foot. So it's very easy to have things be misaligned. So we start to just move this small little movement forwards and backwards. And if we're not seeing movement, we can start to encourage that movement. So all I'm doing is I'm grabbing the outside of my calf. So my fingers are kind of in that tissue that runs right exterior to the shin bone that's right here. And my thumb is cupping around the calf muscle. And as I come forwards, I'm not allowing internal rotation like this, okay? I'm allowing rotation of the bones without the knee ankle joint shifting in proximity medially or laterally. Does that make sense? So my knee is going to keep coming forward. That's not going to change. So it's not going to start to come across my body. It's going to stay right in that same line. But I'm just encouraging that tissue to push the bones over. And I do that a couple times. So up at the top, right in the middle, down towards the ankle. Just doing that a couple of times. And you'll feel that down in the ankle joint typically. Let's run through it one more time. Beautiful. And then you're just going to have a seat for a second and roll your ankle. Big ankle circles. and switch directions. Beautiful. And now we're going to come at it again. So we start stacked, and I grab hold, and I rotate as I come forwards, and there's more movement already. Okay, let's do this 3 rounds in each position. Beautiful. Now, I am going to see if I can adjust those bones now that everything's loosened up. So I have tenderness in my knee, so I'm going to make sure to pad the back of my knee. Turn sideways just so you can see what this looks like. We've done this in the therapy ball class, this particular ankle pop. So if you need support under the knee or in the back of the knee, go ahead and have that. And then you tip backwards and stretch out the top of the foot. And oftentimes you'll get a nice adjustment. And that's great. So that's below the knee joint. Let's go above the knee joint, come onto our backs. Cross that right ankle over the left knee, and then pull the knee up towards you. You can either take the front of the shin or the back of the thigh, whatever works for you, and pull that whole ankle, shin, knee towards you. Try to keep the head relaxed down on the floor, the shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to take this a little bit deeper. So just slide that right knee over the left so that they line up. Grab hold of the knees and pull them down to your chest. That feels easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You're going to keep the knees moving to the chest. I cannot stress that enough. That's what makes this pose, is knees moving to the chest. So if you want to go deeper, you walk the hands down the shins. Pull the shins apart. So pull the feet away from each other, but keep pulling the knees to the chest. You're going to release the legs. Bring the left foot down onto the mat. Bring the right foot up so it looks at the ceiling and the knee is bent down towards the underarm. Grab the outside of the foot. Half happy baby. Pulling the knee down towards the mat alongside the rib cage. Left leg can stay bent or extend down for a little bit deeper of a stretch. And then I like to work kind of about 12 inches out and then back center. Just rocking that hip and moving through the inner thigh hamstring junction. And then take that leg all the way across your body to the left into a twist. Take a deep breath in. On an exhale, come on back center. Hug both knees up into your chest and give yourself a rock all the way up so we can do the left side. So obviously we're working with the knee joint today, but this works for any pain in a joint, especially if it's like sudden. You haven't really done anything and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that doesn't really feel good today. Typically it's just something's misaligned above or below that joint. So if you're looking at the ankle joint, you're going to want to look what's going on in the like 5 billion joints of the foot and what's going on in the knee. If it's the hip, you're going to look at the knee and the sacrum. If it's the sacrum, you're going to look at the hip and the vertebrae. If it's the shoulder, you're going to be looking at the neck and the vertebrae below it. So you kind of become your own little adventurer, body adventurer. Left side, foot comes forward again. Stack the knee on top of the heel. Just take a second to look, taking it forward. I'm not having any issues on this knee today, and I have internal rotation, and my arch drops slightly. So that's awesome. Doesn't mean I can't get it better. So same thing, just gonna rock as I rotate with my hands. Good. Sit back. And we do ankle rolls. And rotate the opposite direction. Come on back. Same thing, 3 positions, high, medium, low, 3 rounds. Should also feel really good on your calf muscle. Beautiful. Now we stretch out the top of the foot. We have a seat on the heels and then lean back. Maybe we get an adjustment, maybe not. And then come on to our backs. Left ankle crosses over the right knee. Pull the leg up. Again, you're either taking the shin or the hamstring. Slide a little deeper by crossing that left leg all the way over. Pull the knees down into your chest. And again, if you need more, keep the knees moving down to the chest. Walk the hands down the shins to pull the feet apart as if you're trying to tie yourself in a knot. And then keep pulling those knees down. Release the legs. Right foot comes down onto the floor. Left foot looks up towards the sky. Grab the outside of the foot. Pull the knee down towards the floor alongside your left rib cage. And the right leg can stay bent or extend if you want a little bit more of a deep stretch. And you can stay static or do that little rotation outwards and inwards, rocking through that hip joint a bit. And taking the leg across the body into a twist. With an exhale, you'll come on back center. We're already in position here for Shavasana. So get yourself comfy and cozy. If you need socks or a blanket or a pillow, bolster, whatever you got. The long sighing exhales as you settle down. When we come out of Shavasana today and move into our day, we are going to do a little grounding exercise. So you're going to just slowly make your way onto your belly. And take a moment in the seal pose or sphinx, whatever you want. Really stretching through your belly. Take a couple long sighing exhales, and as you exhale, really let the belly melt towards the mat as you peel the rest of the torso up. That's going to feel amazing in your low back. Lowering down, slide your hands next to your hips, next to your chest. Press back into child's pose. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up, and then come into downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Bend your knees, roll yourself up. Coming to standing. Relax your arms at your side. And I want you to imagine all the way down beneath your feet in the center of the earth, this pool of water. And this is the energy of the mother, divine feminine. And I want you to connect your left foot down into that and think about the left foot sucking that water up as if it was a straw. And it moves all the way up through the left leg and through the left side of the body, all the way out and comes through the crown of the head and out, flows back down into the earth. And it's just this kind of constant cycle of energy moving through that left side of the body coming from the feminine. And then imagine a big ball of energy, maybe the sun, up above your head. And you're going to draw that energy all the way down into the crown of your head. This is the sacred father, divine masculine, and it's going to flood all the way down through that right side of your body, down the right leg, into the earth, and it's going to flow out and back up. So the right side of the body is going down, left side of the body is coming up, and they're just going in alternate directions, feeding the different sides of the body. This infinite loop of energy. And we always have the opportunity to call on these two very different qualities, the masculine and the feminine, the doer and the receiver, the warrior and the compassionate. So if you feel like, you know what, I need a little more doer in my life, you start pulling a little bit more on that right side. You feel like you need a little bit more of the compassion, the nourishment, the love of the mother, you pull up a little bit more from the left side. And that changes moment to moment. Bring your hands into prayer, your heart center, where the two meet. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth for a long sigh. And go on about your business, about your day. Namaste.